custom. Wait, it's already started.
Yeah, I know, but that's a different one.
Oh, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome
Welcome
to another
to
episode
another episode
of Driving to the Res.
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 With your favorite hosts,
With your favorite hosts,
Inelia
Inelia
and
and
Larry. Good rehearsal.
Good. Did I do your American accent right?
We're working at it.
Working at it.
Working at it.
Working at it.
Yeah. When you get your working at it worked, then you will have succeeded.
Okay.
Okay.
What do we have for today?
Today I wanted to tell a story.
You do?
Yes.
Hmm.
There's a reason, though.
Okay.
A couple of reasons. One of them is, well, you know, you've been talking about find your tribe.
Yes.
For quite some time now.
Yes. Not just me.
Well,
right?
yeah, just you.
No, just me.
There's others too?
The Hopi elders have been talking about that. So, yeah. For a while.
So when you say, and this is what we found to be important.
In 2019, I said it.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not talking about the date is important.
Okay.
What I'm saying is what we have found to be important.
Right.
Is defining what you mean clearly.
Yes.
When you say something, it communicates something.
Yes.
And then somebody absorbs it. And then they convert it in their inside. And it means oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes something completely and utterly different.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it takes sometimes for a simple term, it takes a little bit of exhaustive description for what you mean by what you say to reset those gears so that the data gets through.
Correct.
I think there are a lot of psychological reasons, physical reasons, spiritual reasons, well, human reasons, incarnation reasons, tons of reasons why when we receive data emitted verbally by a mouth or read, textually, we convert that to something else that reaffirms our reality. A lot of reasons for it, right?
Yes.
But I think, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I think if you say it enough times in enough different ways and define your terms, you can get your meaning through. That's
what I've been doing, for as long as I remember. Just saying the same thing, literally saying the same thing over and over again.
Right. Sometimes, sometimes that helps, and I think that's one of the tactics I guess it's the power over others structure uses to affirm a reality or generate an automatic response. Yeah. Or set an unconscious program that takes everything that you hear and then filters it through that and then absorbed as the way that they would like you to absorb it.
Yeah.
So when we say find your tribe, what do you actually mean? Because some people would consider that to mean, well, find out where I came from genetically. And what Aboriginal society do I have genetically in me that I need to go, find. I don't necessarily think that's what you mean.
That's not what I mean.
No. So can you tell us what you mean? Define your terms.
Well, I think actually I know that you know what I mean, but I think you're looking for clarification for the rest of humanity.
I do. I think I know what you mean, but I would like to find out if I think I know what you mean is actually what you mean also.
Do you want to say what you think I mean? And then I can say, yeah, that's it or not. That's not it.
Well, the ways that I would say it would be like find your soul family. And that means something to me, but I'm sure that if I just say that is also interpreted 1,000 ways from Sunday.
It is, yeah.
So how will you describe find your tribe?
So to me, the definition of a tribe is a group of individuals who start thinking as a we rather than an I, me, and myself. These groups function most efficiently if the people are within, say, 20 minutes from each other, so that they can actually physically be there for each other. Let's say you want to move, you're fixing your garden and there's a big rock, right? By yourself, it's really hard to move that rock out of the way. or somewhere because it's all pretty. You want to put it somewhere like in the front of your house or something. But you can call up your tribe and they go, yeah, I'll come over. And then you have 3 or 4 other people to move that rock with. And at the end of the get together to move the rock, you can share a meal together or a nice conversation or a cup of tea, right? And then everybody goes home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you have to be in the same house or the same land. But it is something that, you do things together. Like, for example, you could have a school together, right? You could have a school together. Oh, sorry, BB. Come here, BB. She wants up.
Yeah, she'll just start squawking if you don't.
Yeah. So you could have a school together, and that would be a tribe that you have your schooling children or, adults together. You could have an interest-based tribe, like, say, for example, you're an artist, so a whole bunch of artists getting together. I think that we're going also from, or lawyers for that matter, right? We're going from, because we're a bunch of lone wolves, we're going from a virtual get-together, and that's good too, getting virtually together to share ideas or to be there for each other, to being physically close, because I think the physically close, that you can reach somebody within a few hours or minutes, it's important because our physical bodies, they need that contact. And often we need that like positive interaction at a physical level, like for the example of the rock in the garden, right? You need physical people there. Virtually people can go, yeah, I'm sending all your intent and strength and stuff, but actually you need muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Muscle power.
So that's like the 10 people in 10 miles type of a, you've heard before. That's a thing I've heard.
Yeah, I can't remember where we heard that, but it's saying
That's
get to know 10 people in your area. But it's similar, but you want those 10 people, I mean...
Not just any 10 people.
No, exactly. You don't want the crackhead down the street, right? So...
Well, you might, there's a lot of, you don't want down the streets of, in your tribe. But that's the part that gets tricky bit.
Yeah, the kind of tribe. What kind of tribe, right?
We're
talking about Native American tribes. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of crackheads in that one.
No, there ain't.
There is too.
Well, there's just as many as in others.
Well, they were particularly targeted.
Sure, they were targeted.
Yeah, so okay. I think there's more because they were particularly targeted, especially the sensitive ones.
Okay.
The healing lineages, the shamanic lineages, those were all targeted. So, not to go into the victim-aggressor cycle.
Okay.
Let's just go back to, these are sovereign choices, right? Those people also had the choice not to go down that path. But yeah, so for me, finding your tribe, joining your tribe comes in different levels. There's a virtual level for sure. Mm-hmm. That's important for us because oftentimes we need to tap into that higher frequency energy. And yes, the tribes that I would join would be high frequency tribes, as in we're not involved in drama or battle or any type of feeding the beast, right? The feeding the beast but when I say that is feeding the low frequency reality experience on the planet, the paradigm.
Right.
So for me, joining a tribe would mean that. It would mean also that I'm interested in these people, right? It's not just any random high frequency person either. For me personally, I want to be interested in them. And because otherwise I would just not want to hang out with them. So it's like people that I like to hang out with, that I find interesting, would be part of that tribe. But also it's like, yeah, I need help with a project or even start projects together, right? And that type of thing. So there could be people, we often as people are part of many, many tribes. And I remember when you brought in the question of soul families about 10 years ago.
10 years ago, easy.
Yeah. And I said, well, here's the thing. The biggest myth that is being propagated right now on Earth is that you're only part of one soul family. So it's like make or break, you find your soul family and that's it, right? However, there are billions of soul families that you're part of. And you can come and go and put a certain one in focus and then another one not so much in focus. Do you see? So there's soul families in the universe, in the multiverse actually, in many universes, there's soul families, and you can move in and out of their interest, and actually you can leave some altogether and you can join new ones as well. So from that perspective, if you translate into the human collective experience, then it's a little bit the same. It's like we're very much geared to being programmed into us versus them. So the mythological belief, or even like the created belief that's quite modern, so if you're part of one tribe, you can't be part of the other one. However, you know from the Native American perspective that, for example, the canoe get-togethers with the Mecca tribe, it was like lots and lots of tribes get together, right? And that's part of a larger community, a larger tribe, we could say, right? So it's like that, right? And that's been happening for thousands of years. So they go in the canoes and they go and visit each other and exchange goods and whatever, get to know and visit with your brothers and sisters and cousins that married into other tribes, and even find husbands and wives or for your children, you know? It's like that. It's more like that. And you can go back and forth, and, you know, it's larger, it's bigger. It's not just like you're part of one tribe and you can't talk to anybody else and you can't connect with anybody else, or you can't be interactive with anybody else, or you can't support anybody else, or you can't get support from anybody else, right? Any other tribe. So I think that's part of it. For me, finding your tribes, with plural, right? We've been saying find your tribe because for us lone wolves, we usually don't even have one.
Not even one.
So you start with one and then you expand from there. And you can also create tribes. So that's what I mean. Know your people.
It's like a lot of filters there. And those filters, it's like sometimes in some ways I could hear one of the filters and then I disqualify someone because they're not going to pass, they haven't passed through the filter right now. Even though it's probably true that they may pass through the filter later. For example, I'm not going to join a person in my tribe, so to speak, who lives 20 hours away. But they may move closer.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I?
Right.
So there's when you say find your tribe, you mean something. And some of the things are filters, right?
Yeah.
But some of the things aren't.
Right.
Some of the things are just, these are who you want in your tribe.
Yeah.
I guess those are filters too, right?
Yeah.
So would you have a list, or how would you do it? I mean, when somebody listens to it and hears it say find your tribe, then you say, okay, that sounds good, but what do you even mean? First of all, okay, now I think I understand what you mean. I'm still a little bit fuzzy, honestly.
You do?
Yeah, I think that we traveled down a road and we went into a spiral, popped into another galaxy, went out of our bodies a bit, and then we landed back here and we're talking about canoe families traveling up the coast, meeting each other and finding wives and trading. But I don't think that's what we mean. We got lost on the road. Find your tribe. What does it mean? Let's try and condense it a little bit. Because once you find out what it means, then our next question will be, how do you do it? That's kind of what I want. First of all, find your tribe.
Find
one of the things
people that you want to hang out with.
Find people you want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what if you don't want to hang out with people? That's the lone wolfitis.
Well, exactly.
So how do you find your tribe if you don't want to hang out with people?
People who don't offend you. And people who are okay, if everybody's in the kitchen laughing and giggling and cooking and whatever's, they're okay though if you're sitting in the next room by yourself. And they're perfectly fine. I'll bring you food when they're done, Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're there for them, they're there for you. You know?
That's a relationship you establish over time, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And it's okay to try out different tribes, and if you don't gel, then you move on. It's fine. You don't get stuck or somewhere. And I found often that, let's say, a person joins a tribe, and then they connect with one or two people, and not the rest, and they leave that tribe, but they're still in touch with that one or two people, you know, and that they form a new tribe. Yeah.
So we can say,
not separate.
Let's just define the word tribe. What do you mean by tribe?
Group of people who are there for each other.
Okay, a group of people who are there for each other.
Yeah.
So find a group of people who can be there for you, and you can be there for them.
Yeah.
Right. All right, that makes sense. And some of the things that make you available to be there for each other are proximity geographically.
Geographically,
so at
yes.
least an intent to move or be in the same vicinity
I
geographically.
would say so, yeah. At the moment, yeah. And like I said, virtually it doesn't necessarily true, but for some, yes. That's why you're part of multiple tribes, not just one.
Okay.
You can be part of lots of virtual tribes through interest, but you should also aim to have a local physical tribe.
Have you noticed that you can have a virtual tribe group kind of thing that's a little bit, nice and tight and for each other, helping each other, there for each other, and there, that whole connection type of a thing, but there is no physical part of it. And if you actually do go to the physical part of it, it's kind of like, ooh, well, I prefer you virtually, actually.
That can happen.
What's that about?
I don't know what that's about. I mean, start psychoanalyzing things, you'll be here sitting down forever, and it's not going to fix anything.
I'm not psychoanalyzing, I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting that there is a difference. So part of gathering physically, is it superior in some way, having a physical group or a virtual group? Does it matter?
No, they're different. That's what I'm saying. Don't talk about a group. Talk about groups. Talk about tribes. Some are compatible with certain things in your life, and some are compatible for others. But it is important right now to start doing physical location tribes, also. Simply from the fact of that we are here to create a new paradigm experience, and you're going to need physical actions to do that. New governance, new educational system, new work, new food systems, new transport systems, and all those are physical things.
Yep, they are.
Yeah.
So Find Your Tribe isn't just physical, but it is also physical.
Yeah.
And so Find Your Tribes, I guess we call it an S.
Yeah.
Some of the ways to find your tribes are to, I guess, try.
Yeah.
One first thing is try.
Try them out.
I'd like to try to find my tribe. And one of the ways is you meet people through the social places. But the people who listen to Driving to the Res probably don't go looking at the bar.
No.
to go find people to hang out with, although that was a way.
It used to be.
In the past, yeah. Or dance clubs.
Right.
Or what are some of the other things? I think in the past have been who you went to school with.
Oh, yeah.
That would be people who would be your tribe.
Yeah.
Or people in college you went to college with, or that you work with at the same jobs.
Yeah.
Those are your tribes.
Yeah.
These are ones that basically you meet people because, you're in the proximity of them.
Yes, proximity.
And you had an experience of time and space,
that
job,
connected you.
School, whatever that you share. So if one of the things that you find in finding your tribe is shared experiences, right?
Yep.
What is that? What is that? The shared experience creating connection.
Well, you're stuck with them for a long time. If you go to school, you have to sit next to them. Go to work, you have to be with them every day.
So it's a little bit like arranged marriage.
Yeah.
You may not like them so much when you first get together, but you
get to know them eventually.
Yeah. Get accustomed over time.
Yeah. But those are not necessarily good tribes to put your attention on.
Oh.
Because they might have contained people who are really subscribing to like that paradigm, drama, victimhood, and all these type of things.
Right, that's
or
the point. So that's kind of the point with what we're talking about, driving to the res. Find your tribe. We don't mean to find your Power of Others tribe, your light dark tribe, your whatever tribe. There's a few filters to start out with, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you go looking for them. It may or may not be at your work.
Right.
You may or may not find your tribe at your work.
Right. Your tribes.
Your tribes. Okay, well, we'll just exhaust the tribes thing. We'll just always say tribes now? Find your tribes?
Sure. Why not?
Well, because it doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
Maybe it's more accurate. Yeah, it's more accurate though.
Find your tribes. Alrighty.
Yeah.
So we can find our tribes. It's good exercise.
Yes.
Because that stops the little firewall between I need to find the perfect one. It's kind of like, unless I find the perfect and only X, Y, Z, I don't want anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is the first firewall to doing anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, in our experiences, finding our tribes, we've ended up with a lot of pets. Do pets count as part of your tribes?
No.
5 dogs, 2 cats, 425 chickens, ravens, crows. We do have a tribe of animals.
They're not tribes.
Don't tell them that. Have you seen it? Look at his eyes, a PB. Come on now.
Oh, PB.
She could be a part of your tribes.
Oh, you're part of our tribe. She
Yes.
thinks she is.
She totally is.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm saying though is pets are a part of your tribes. It's a good step out of lone wolf.
Pets? No.
No?
It's the opposite.
Okay.
If you surround yourself with pets, it means that you don't have any need for human contact. It's the opposite.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
So don't use animals as a substitute?
No.
Just period? Mm-hmm. But you can have animals, of course.
Oh yeah, of course. I don't understand the connection between tribes and animals, quite honestly.
Well, you made the obvious connection, sweetheart.
I did?
Yes, that some people will substitute animals for people.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Animals for a husband, animals for a wife, animals for kids, animals for people, basically.
Because I think we're on the kids one.
Well, okay. We got a lot of kids.
Yeah. We have 8 human kids.
8 human kids and 20 or so.
Or 30
animal kids.
Animal kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, the moral of that story was finding your tribes doesn't mean getting a bunch of animals.
No.
Okay. But you can have animals, but don't substitute it.
Don't substitute, no.
Okay, so it needs to be human people.
Human animals, yes.
Okay, good. Now, one of my, past experience of finding your tribe was looking for soul family connection, in a sense. I remember. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It ended up a bit sideways. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was positives and negatives. There was great times and not so great times. There was revelation and there was discovery and there was adventure and there was definitely journey, experience. It was pretty interesting. It crashed and tumbled and exploded.
Yeah, and are there your soul family still?
Probably you could say literally yes, but not that.
How literally yes?
They have a shared experience in the past.
Yes, in that you are actually part of every single
yes, and that
soul
you're
family
actually
on
part of every
planet.
planet. Yeah, that part.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't physically hang out anymore. Do, occasionally catch up on what's been up to, type of a connection. Interested enough to observe, but not interested enough to engage. Go to the wedding.
Right. Yeah.
Or be invited even.
Yes. Don't get invited to weddings.
Don't get invited or get asked to go or anything like that. Yeah. So it's like a dissolved relationship type of a thing.
Yeah.
That is strange if you think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, soul family dysfunction, I guess we call it.
Mm-hmm.
But the frequency of the frequency of it was a bit off for where we ended up. I don't know how to say any of that. I don't really
So you
understand
hang out
it.
with some group of people that you thought you gelled with and were
We did
supportive
gel
of
with,
each other.
and we were.
Yeah, with certain frequencies and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then
Who you would have said I
got
found your
smart.
tribe.
Then
Yeah.
you got street smart, you found that there was actually predators in that group, and
Yeah,
you've been taken advantage of, others were being taken advantage
there
of
were
and
predators
by
and there were victims.
Yes. And then you realize, wait,
I don't really want to be a tribe of victims
these
and
are aggressors, and actually these
aggressors.
people are not that interesting, they're not really my tribe, you moved on.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
They did too.
Yes.
Because we decided we did do a different game.
Right. Everybody moved to a different game.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that.
So
it was more like a group of friends hanging out.
No, it wasn't.
Than a tribe.
Okay. No, it wasn't. No. We all lived together.
How did they support you?
And all the ways that people support each other, and mentally, physically, emotionally, and in facilitating a process of exploring.
Uh-huh. Through pain?
Not all pain, no.
Not all
some
pain?
It was like, go to bed, you guys. No,
Not
it wasn't.
Pain?
No, it wasn't pain. There wasn't a lot of pain involved.
No? Oh.
At the end, it was painful.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So what state were you frequency-wise when you were hanging out with these people?
Open to adventure.
And
willing.
Possession, maybe?
Possession?
Yeah. How much alcohol were you drinking?
No, none of significance.
No, how significant is significant?
1 or 2 beers, 1 or 2...
A day?
No, once a week, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was no alcohol involved it wasn't an alcohol
tribe,
no.
Because you've been in those too, huh?
Oh yeah, I had plenty of those.
Yeah. So you reckon you were not possessed in any way or form?
No, I didn't feel like a possession, huh?
Do a possessed person know they're being possessed?
If they look back on it, yeah, I'm sure they could see it from the past, from the future. Because the actions that they'd take maybe might not be their own, or they don't understand their actions.
So, you had no situations where you couldn't understand your actions when in that part of your life?
No.
Not necessarily when you were with them, but generally speaking, during that time?
No, but it did feel like an orchestration to find a way to dissolve a other relationship, the one that was a possession relationship, the one with, what would you call it?
So basically you were involved in negative possessive kind of possession type things, right?
No, I wasn't that I was aware of, and not with that group of people, but with my other relationship,
Yeah.
Don't really want to talk about who.
Right. So what I'm trying to get to here, and the point I'm trying to make in these questions, is that when you were involved with those people and in that situation, your frequency or your discernment and your control of your life wasn't exactly high frequency. So yes, we can form alliances with people in all sorts of different frequencies, and we can have and join tribes that are different frequencies and experiences, but I wouldn't go as far as to call them soul family connections, right? Because, for example, you had a very, very deep connected relationship with several people when you were in the Coast Guard for 4 years, right? Even the organization itself, you were deeply embedded into it. However, would you call that your soul family?
I wouldn't characterize it like you said. I found that I wasn't a part of it from the minute that I ended up realizing what it was, which was right after boot camp. I mean, the boot camp process was fun. Looking back on it, not in it. Looking back on it, I was like, hey, that was kind of an adventure. It was like going to summer camp with strong rules. But it's like summer camp never ended. I got done with summer camp and went to do what we were trained to do. And I found that, this isn't what I thought. And so I never really latched onto it.
But you did. At a physical level and several other levels, you were latched in.
Well, I was literally legally latched in, but I wasn't emotionally identified as latched in, you know. That boot camp part faded off, and I got a job right away in a restaurant cooking pizzas, and that was more of an outlet and soul family than the Coast Guard.
Okay, let's have a look at the pizza place then.
Okay.
You said more look of a soul family connection there.
Right. Food, creating food, generating food, feeding people. That was a shared connection point that did feel true.
Right.
And the Coast Guard one was a facade that was corrupted, is how it felt. A corrupted facade. You were literally not permitted to be yourself. You actually had to be what they said what they programmed you to be.
So in this situation, would you say that soul family of the pizza place was similar to the soul family that you traveled with a few years ago on a spiritual quest?
Say that question again.
Would you say this is a similar bond of soul family of
the
a
pizza?
spiritual, pizza place?
Yeah, because it dissolved. Because it actually didn't have that great deal of importance. It just had a shared experience time. Like, so at the pizza place, the connection was like, okay, I'm home. And at the soul family travel the West Coast, it felt like, okay, we're home together. We don't know what home together means. We're going to explore different ways and see what it is. And it was, in a way, an orchestration and it in effect, started the dissolution process of my old home family life.
So what I'm getting at here is that usually when we say our soul family, we indicate a group of people that we are in a spiritual journey with, rather than some people that we work with and that we gel together really well when we're working in that pizza place.
Yeah, right? When I say soul family, I mean people that you have strong already. It's like, I know you. I already know you. I only just met you, but I already know you. I feel like I know you. I feel like we've done experienced lives together. We do it on a repeat basis. So you know kind of who you are and what you are and what you're about. It's just like a natural, or I don't know if you call it natural. It feels like an automatic affinity.
Okay. Just to add a little bit more there, that soul family that you're talking about told me that I was part of that soul family. And other soul families, in fact, that they call themselves soul families around the planet also wrote to me or contacted me to say, hey, we looked into it and we've discovered that you're part of our soul family. So what do you say about that?
Well, you've said you're part of every soul family, so I don't think that's odd. And the first time I saw you, I thought that you were definitely connected to me in some way. And there was no doubt in my mind that affinity felt like presence. It's like a presence, and I draw and a pull to connect. Right.
So that's exactly what I wanted you to look at, because basically, when we're looking at soul families, this is what we call the different connection point. And that connection point can happen for different reasons, right? And we are part of multiple soul families. And there is one actually, just human Earth is a soul family, right? Human living and experiencing Earth is a soul family. From that perspective, you are linked at that level with every single human being on planet Earth. Now, there's other connections that we're talking about, which is interest or frequency journey connections, right? And they're not necessarily all high frequency. Right. Some of those connections can be very low frequency, very, very low frequency.
Right. Well, that's definitely true. And one of the things that I did not understand in the past is I figured a soul family connection was going to be high frequency, but
yes,
that doesn't turn out to be true.
Exactly, right? So this is a really important point. Because often people think and they have that affinity and connection and everything, and they get really, really connected with somebody or a group of people, And then 6 months down the road, they realize, wait, these people are involved in some really dark games or like very low frequency engagements, but they're my soul family, so I have to stick with them and see this through and maybe get them out of there.
Right.
So that is a trap. That's a light worker trap.
Yep. You're right.
So as you educate yourself as soul families, realize that your connections are actually your creation. You decide. One person is not more importantly of a higher, whatever, more connected, more important soul family than another, except from your perspective. And that perspective, if you have got low frequency engagements, including drinking a few beers a week, which puts you into an alcohol possession type dynamic, that's just an example. There's other dynamics that are possessive as well, like possession, open to possession, like fear, for example, or low frequency items, such as jealousy or other things. But anyways, those are your creation, your perception, and those can be manipulated to trap you. And those are often manipulated to trap light workers because they're so loyal. Light workers are a loyal bunch. And it's like, leave no man behind, that type of energy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's highly exploited.
Totally.
And you mentioned how you felt about the Coast Guard. Even the name Coast Guard, right? Such a light worker trap. Very, very pulls you in, right?
Yeah, but they didn't say coast killers.
Exactly. They don't say coast killers or coast battlers or coast warriors,
Coast shoot up the bad guys.
Yeah. But that's exactly what they're expected to do very often, right? Get into the middle of battles and stuff. So in that sense, it's important to realize that when we talk about our soul family, you have to realize that includes the entire planet. And there's a lot of people in this planet right now who have chosen a different reality to you, and you really need to let them go because that's their free will choice. That's their free will choice. And you hanging on to them is not helping them at all. And vice versa, right? So that's why we can and we have the ability and capacity to look and see in our soul families that we choose and our perception changes through our growth and expansion of awareness. We then have the freedom to choose, okay, what soul group do I want to form with whom, and how much focus and attention do I want to put there?
Yep. Right? Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what tribes are.
Exactly.
That's what the tribes you're speaking about are.
Yeah. And sometimes you do get involved in a very low frequency tribe, right?
Happens.
And then you get connected and you still connected with them years later. And it's like, what do you do with those connections? And that's your choice. Do you want to release those connections or do you want to keep them? Right? That's your choice. And what level of connection do you want to stay there? It's like, I can think of one we might call a soul tribe that I was decided to connect very deeply at. And it was a very warrior type energy, right? In fact, it was like all these kids that we were told we were going to be superheroes as kids, right?
Right.
Some people have heard of it. I mean, a cousin of that organization is the what are they called? MK Ultras, right?
Right.
But we dissolved and we moved on with our lives, but I can still tap into them anywhere on the planet and scan to see how they're doing. And sometimes I do. And they feel it because we were all very, very psychic kids. That was the point of it. But that connection wasn't created for a high frequency reason. And those relationships were not high frequency relationships, except the bond that we created because that was artificially created for our own survival and for us to be used as a tool by the military. So in that sense, are they still my most vocal, most important soul family, or are they my true soul family for the existence in the universe? What do you think?
No, probably not.
No, right?
No. Maybe at the time it felt like it. Once in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
And for a time it was.
Yeah.
that's basically the point, which is that focus.
Yeah.
You point that focus.
Right.
And you're actually the chooser of the focus point.
Exactly.
So you're the chooser of the soul family, not the soul family is the thing and you finding it. You're the chooser of it.
Exactly. So you don't need to find your soul family. You choose your soul family. And sometimes you create it.
Yes. Now we're talking. That's a pretty big realization, huh?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So from that point, which I think is a really good exclamation point, finding that means what are you going to point your attention at to find your tribe? Or you could say find your soul family, or you could find your friends, or you could say find your, sometimes people quote, real family, or your family, or your bears.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you can use whatever word. See the bush wiggling? Somebody keeps saying hi in the corner over there.
Really?
See that fern?
I don't
It
see
goes
it
like
right
this.
now. We're looking at the yard right now, but if you're listening on audio.
Yeah. And there's a fern out there waving like a Sasquatch do.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Look at it
that's
go.
totally crazy. Yeah, that's totally crazy.
There's somebody standing there watching.
Yeah, they are.
There's like, we're your soul family. Come on.
All the other bushes are moving a little bit, but that one is just swinging
like,
side to side. Yeah.
Wait. Look at it go.
Crazy.
No, it's like this far.
Yeah, it's Sasquatch to do that.
That's really good. Alrighty.
And they stopped.
I just call that confirmation.
Yep.
So your focus will be on, if you're listening to this, high frequency tribe.
Yes.
Which means another whole set of words, high frequency. What even does that mean? Because high frequency is a word, but where's the line of high and low frequency mean? Where's that at? The easiest way to define it, generally speaking, is by what it isn't. Because by what it is a universe of things, and what it isn't are the power over other things. Yeah. Yeah. So is there a set of words that you would use to describe it that aren't what it isn't?
Yeah, to me, they're inspiration, a frequency of inspiration, connection, sovereignty, co-creation, interest, and exploration. And within just those words, there's a whole universe of things to look at. Huge. It expands our awareness. It expands our band of experience, not just on Earth, but in the universe, so broad. I mean, it expands us so much from where we are at right now.
I can feel it when I tap into it. Just tap into it if you're listening. Tap into that broad, expanded something.
Experience.
And you feel the limitless of the lightness and the limitlessness of that.
Yeah, so it's our band of experience just expands tremendously when you take out the tiny little fear bit that anchors us in a very, very narrow band of experience.
That is it. It's a very narrow band of experience. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's, I guess, one of the first filters of finding your tribe is high frequency.
Yeah, totally.
And then
I would recommend that.
I would recommend that. So how do you measure someone's frequency?
Do I measure another person's frequency, you mean?
Yeah, how do you measure if they're high frequency or not?
Generally speaking, what I do is look at, I personally cannot do it like overnight. I need time. And mostly because I have, my default is to see the higher self, the expanded awareness of a person.
Yeah. And
most people that I've met on the planet are light beings. So even if I walk down a busy street, I see light being, the eternal divine being, eternal divine being on everybody is huge light. And it took me a while and a lot of training to start seeing the BS, right? The belief systems. and the bullshit that people cover themselves up in to have limited low frequency experiences. And it's still a little bit hard for me to see that. So usually I will accept somebody with open arms, but then often after a few days or even weeks, sometimes months, I will start to perceive their other stuff, their low frequency programs, usually from victimhood, like when people blame others for everything, all of their experiences.
Yeah.
They're not only in victimhood, but they're giving away their power to others, right? Dictating that others control their existence on Earth. And to me, that's a very low frequency state to be in, right? Oh, yeah, it's my mom's fault that I did XYZ. Actually, Inelia, it's your fault because you said XYZ and you made my life hell. That type of energy and interaction to me is extremely low frequency. And usually when that happens, I just go, bye-bye. It's like, I'm not interested in having a connection with this individual. Another one is to put me, apart from putting me in the aggressor part, others will try to make me a victim. So they attack or they insult and then this and then, not interested in getting that engagement, So for me, like the frequency of the person will come out eventually. If I hang out a lot with them, it usually comes out sooner rather than later. And it's extremely unpleasant. So, because I chose to hang out with high frequency people, right? So the frequency, what's a high frequency person? Usually they're sovereign, they're actively working on expanding their awareness. They're not into victimhood. They don't blame others for anything. They're not moaners, complainers, and they don't try to make me their aggressor or their victim.
Right? Or their savior.
Or their savior, or anything. It's like they're just interesting, and they're interested in interesting high frequency things. Like, so if they're not interested, some people find drama interesting. I don't. So to me, drama is a low frequency engagement. It's usually got to do with anger and fear and sadness and love and suffering and victim aggressors and all these type of enslavements and oppression and all that stuff. Drama, right? And to me, those are low frequency engagements that I'm not interested in. High frequency engagements, exploration, expansion of awareness, inspiration, creativity, of beauty, and beauty in experience, not just items. Like a beautiful meal or a beautiful conversation or a beautiful shared experience of a sunset or, it's just beauty all around.
Yeah, so it's clearly a subjective thing. How you measure someone's frequency is subjective, but clearly, again, defined in the sense of exclusion. This excludes it from high frequency. Not high frequency includes a lot of things, but it doesn't include this.
Exactly.
And that list of things isn't actually
it's
very
not that
long.
Big. It's not big.
The list
at all.
of things that it doesn't include are not very many things.
Right.
But those are the things that absolutely don't exist in it.
Right.
That's, in a sense, the definition of a high frequency paradigm, the new paradigm, light paradigm, that kind of a thing. They don't include a few things. And so when you're looking for a high frequency individual, they don't include a few things. Certainly they may have some we're not like what is the word? Perfect in every way, already fully light in the middle of a light dark split. There's probably plenty of little Klingons on most of our selves and friends and things like that. They have some tendencies to not backslide, but have habits. But they're, as you said, working on expanding their awareness and excluding the lower frequency engagements from their field.
Yeah, it's like a lot of my tools will teach to be responsive rather than reactive.
Right. You still get mad and you might say, oh my God, I'm going to get a battle. And you're like, but I think I'm going to do a 1 to 10 thing. Probably going to look at this situation. Am I interested in a low frequency engagement right now? I'm going to indulge in that. Nah, not really. I think I'll drop that.
Right.
Okay. that would be a high frequency
response.
That's the kind of person that you want in your tribe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not perfect in every way already, but I mean, that's okay. They can come too.
Yeah.
All right. So some of the places to look, some of the things that we've tried, we went on a cruise.
Yes.
And we went on a cruise with a spiritual group because we figured there would be less alcohol per purpose. Like they wouldn't be drinking all the time.
We were wrong about that one.
Yeah, we were wrong about that one because apparently cocktail parties were part of it.
Yeah, they were sloshers, man.
And we couldn't even get in the cocktail party.
No, thank goodness. I don't think that would have been very interesting.
No, remember we crashed it for a minute to see what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And
we
got checked out and it wasn't interesting at all.
No, it wasn't.
And we did meet one or two interesting people.
Yeah, we did.
And we did have one or two interesting friends join.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually met friends in some of the ports.
Yep.
But we didn't find a new tribe by going to that particular spiritual event cruise.
No.
We didn't even find any tribal members.
No.
But we just met the ones that we already had.
Mm-hmm.
That was strange, right?
Well, that kind of part of our personality too, because we have been running the lone wolf a lot and we actively didn't try to make connections. Even when we found interesting people, we never asked them for their phone number or give them our website or email. We didn't do that.
Oh, we have to do something?
Yeah, connect.
Oh.
We actually tried to avoid that at all costs.
Nice to meet you. Bye. See you later.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you're interesting. Bye.
Bye. Gotta go. Okay, so you have to. I guess then the lesson there essentially is you have to be available.
Yeah, you have to be
and
proactive.
Available means some way of finding you.
Yes.
Don't make it super hard, for God's sakes.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So we tried another thing. We did. We had events that we had. They definitely brought and helped build a tribe.
Oh, definitely, yes.
So we were interested in XYZ. Maybe it's instant manifesting. Maybe it's brides and grooms of Gaia things. Maybe it's exploration of the expansion of awareness things. So we will put together an event, which you can understand is like, okay, everybody here, I'm going to talk about this thing. We're going to talk about this thing. We're going to learn about this thing. It's going to be here. You can join in the process by supporting it, paying for some of the food and the housing, and come join with us and we'll do it together. It'll be a great thing. And those people that showed up,
we're still in touch with every
we're
single one.
We're still in touch with almost every single one of them.
Not all of them, but the great majority.
Right. So that turned out to be a good way to find your tribe, which is to have an event about something that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing we tried was, remember we tried to go to an event of other people's gathering who want to build a tribe.
Right.
The Freedom Cells, for example.
That didn't go well for us.
It didn't work out right. The Freedom Cell thing, it's not that it's a bad thing, and I'm sure there's groups that are great,
nice,
and there's groups that are this and that and everything. Everyone, I'm sure all the groups are exploring the same things that we're all exploring. Like, how do you find your tribe, and what do you use for your filter?
And we've learned a lot of good stuff from their classes and events.
Yeah, they're not a bad group.
Yeah,
they're a good group.
Yeah.
But when we went to meet up, their focus and their energy wasn't...
One of their groups,
Yeah, one of their groups.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is that when you're trying to find your tribe and you have your filters, the filters of low frequency things, when those are actively part of your process, then when you go find a group of people and it looks great on the top and then you go meet them, you find, there's a lot of low frequency engagements in this group still. They're not compatible. It's not compatible with
what I want.
What we want to gather, right?
Exactly.
Because their focus
is not in the same place.
Not in the same place, I guess. Which isn't to say there wasn't anybody there whose focus wasn't. Right. And probably if we had, what do you call it? In some countries they call it cojones. We could have stood up and said something and been available to find for the alternative frequency.
Right.
Which probably there were some there just like us.
Yeah.
But
one lady did.
Yeah.
Actually, she had the cojones. She stood up and said, "What for?"
What for, you guys? We ain't going there to blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
We're not here for a battle.
Yeah.
let's just make our own planet, our own place, our own
find our
grocery
allies,
store,
right?
find our allies.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, but we didn't give her our email, did we?
Nope.
Or her phone number or nothing?
Nothing.
We're not very good at it.
No, we're not very good at it. That's true.
We're trying better. Yes. Every time better.
It's actually a miracle that we're even part of any tribe. And even a greater miracle that we're part of a high-frequency physical tribe. I mean, that's just a huge miracle that we've managed to do that. We've become part of a high-frequency tribe in a physical locality. Because it's just, we make it very hard, I think.
I think that we get our orchestrations have to come into play in order to bring it about. It's like living at the community house.
Yes. Oh,
remember
my gosh.
how that came to be? It wasn't because we chose it.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't because we wanted to.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, we got quite a few, I guess we'll call it strong nudges in that direction. It's like, okay, you can stay here, but you don't get any water.
Right. In other places, right?
Yes. Yeah. You want water? Go over here.
Yeah.
Water is life.
Yes.
Got lots of water at the Shaman Shack. You could stay there. And it's hot. And it flows.
Yes.
We get pushed around by water occasionally.
We do.
Well, now lately we've tried another thing.
We did.
One of the things we do is ingest podcasts.
Yeah, we do.
Interesting people.
We like to listen to podcasts that are interesting people that are exploring reality, are exploring high frequency things, and also like getting street smart about low frequency things.
Right.
We have some favorites.
Right, we have favorite podcasters. Yes. They have, I'm not saying they bat 1,000.
No.
But
I mean,
they generally
we don't necessarily agree with everything they say, or even all their guests. I mean, maybe 20% of everything.
It depends.
Yeah, depends on the guest. But they're most certainly interesting. And to me, that's one of the things. I like interesting people.
Right.
Like, what is to me interesting? Somebody who will explore something and expands one's awareness, or it's interesting how their journey of exploration is super interesting. I like that. And sometimes when they get to the right conclusion, I go, yes, you did it. And when they get to they go off into some sort of, they go, oh man, you were so close.
How did you do that? Why did you do that? Yeah. So in doing that, we open ourselves up to finding interesting people and tribes.
Yes.
And so, we listen. I guess we could say who we listen to. A few
of course, yeah.
Crow 777 is kind of. I really like listening to some of his. Cool. He gets pretty far out there.
He does.
And he definitely has his righteous moments.
He does, and victim aggressor moments.
But
he does his expansion of aware moments really well.
He definitely has his expansion of aware moments extremely well.
Yeah.
I give him like an A+.
A++, yeah.
Totally. And there's very interesting people that he finds to talk to about very interesting topics, and he's very well, I guess I would call it organized. In other words, they have a list of questions.
Yes.
That they have the
topics they
want to explore. They've shared it with the other person, I think, probably, so they know, and they're well prepared to enter into this conversation. But they're not afraid to follow a path off the side if they want. But they say, hey, I know, now this is off topic, let's go back.
Yes.
So he got good structure.
He's really good. Yeah, he's a very good podcaster or interviewer.
Yeah.
He's very good.
So the last podcast we listened to him, it was about building community, finding your tribe, and found a Beartopia. Is that what it's called? Let's see, what is it called? Something with bears, but Beartaria.
They have an app and a community.
Yeah, they have the Beartaria Times, which is the newspaper. It's a website.
Yeah.
And they have an app called Beartaria.
Yeah.
And we went on the Beartaria app, and we all, in our Instant Manifestation Workshop alumni group, which...
That's a great tribe.
Group.
That's a great tribe, yes. That's excellent tribe.
That is an excellent tribe.
Yeah.
We all made...
That's from Benz Academy, by the way.
Yeah, that is Benz Academy, by the way. I mean...
Oh my gosh.
That's something we'll talk about in the second hour.
Okay.
IMW Alumni Group.
Yeah.
Second hour. definitely.
Oh my gosh.
Exploring what that means, what it means to be part of a extremely powerful, capable, high-frequency tribe.
Yeah. Very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways,
we all put together Beartaria
and we were looking through their groups and going, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. I mean, groups of interest.
They're groups of interest.
Yeah,
and inside it are
so
interesting people with high frequency.
Super interesting people. Yeah.
All gathered under banner of, we're not here to fight the system. We're here to create the world and the systems that we love.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's the energy that we all should be embodying right now.
Right. So
as light workers.
We jumped in head first to check it out.
Yes. And so far, so good.
So far, so good.
I've had very good interactions in there so far. And we've only been there like less than 24 hours.
Less than 24 hours, yes. Yeah. And a very nice 24 hours.
Very nice 24 hours, yes.
So that was Crow 777, his podcast. And he has a paid second hour feed, which is like our Subscribe Star second hour. Yeah. And I highly recommend that you do the full, if you're going to do it,
do it.
When you find the things that you like, support them. Yeah. It's pointless.
So go to Crow 777, Crow with 2 R's.
Oh, yeah.
CRROW 777, and tell them that Larry and Inelia from Driving to the Rest sent you.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
Tell them.
Yeah.
Go tell them.
Another one I like is Freeman.
Freeman TV.
Yeah, freemantv.com.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very good too. I mean, he's an all-hat at podcasting.
He's been doing it since before you even had a podcast player.
Yeah.
He was actually at the conference in 2012 that you were at, the Silent Meditation one, at the place we don't speak of.
Oh, yeah.
I think I met him, talked to him around the fire one night. He has lots of stories. He traveled around the country in a spiral, in a old bus that gets about 10 gallons to the mile instead of miles to the gallon. With no money, no house, no income. And he somehow, through a secretistic journey, made it all the way around forever with that bus not breaking down. And had lots of adventures of merry men, fun.
But he's a very interesting person.
Right. And so he knows lots of interesting people and talks about lots of interesting things and explores all basically the topics that we do. Again, not 100%, but come on. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty dang good. And he also has a second hour.
He does.
That you can support him through.
Yeah. But also,
I highly recommend.
Extremely interesting second hours.
Extremely, Well, he does delve into the dark and the dastardly, and I avoid too much of those. Some of them are a little bit harsh, but because he does have some of that background.
He does.
He has that family lineage. Even.
He does. Yeah, he does.
But it's like
be street
smart.
He
pulls himself out of it.
He does. Yeah.
But he's not immune to it.
No, he's not immune to it.
But it's still worth listening, and
Absolutely,
being a little selective, I guess.
Yeah.
Another one we really enjoy is the Higher Side Chats, Greg Carlwood.
Yeah.
We also have a second hour subscription to theirs.
Yeah.
Again,
we do.
Like I said, if you enjoy the first hour, support it.
I know.
I mean,
support it.
Support the things that you love.
Exactly. Yes. Support the things that inspire you, that you love or you like, or, expand your awareness. Support it. Don't be passive.
Yeah, this isn't the time for passivity.
Or leeching from other people. Come on.
That's a way to say it.
Yeah.
So, we do the second hour on his too.
And twice, because we paid it twice, because I couldn't get into our family account, so I paid for it again. So we paid twice for the Higher Side Chat guy.
Again, his not 1,000%, not every show is the greatest ever, but, we have found more interesting people in our lives through listening to him find interesting people.
Yeah, exactly.
Than most any other way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like interesting
books and knowledge.
Interesting knowledge.
Expansion of awareness and exploration of awareness. All sorts of interesting things.
Our Brown's gas machine. I think that came through one of his interviews. And then Freeman TV also did the same thing.
Right.
It's like we are a part of those tribes. These
we do.
3 shows are connected in ways.
Right? And ours, of course.
And ours too.
Yeah.
I like, my family thinks I'm crazy because,
Yeah.
My family thinks I'm crazy.
I'm not that fond of that one.
I know you're
much.
not. I know.
I mean, sometimes he has interesting things to say or interesting people, but mostly I don't really like that one very much.
Right. I kind of like it because my family thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah, so the title,
Yeah,
you identify with the
I
title, huh?
identify with the title, yeah.
Probably for me, yeah.
I like Brett Weinstein's Dark Horse podcast.
Yeah, I'm starting to listen to that one too. And I'm starting to find that he does have some interesting topics and interesting people come in.
He's a bit exhaustive, honestly.
Yeah, but I can't listen to him for very long.
Right, but he's what we would call, what we learned him to be as from Cliff explaining he was his normie thermometer. Or something like that.
He used to be a normie, not so much anymore.
He's not so much anymore.
Right.
Now he's kicked off of YouTube.
I can listen to him for 5 minutes, and he's got interesting things, but then after that, I'm done.
They lost half of their family revenue by getting kicked off of YouTube.
Well, I warned people years ago, don't become dependent on Google Ads or YouTube money, because that controls you. They're going to control you through that.
Right.
And some people listened, some people didn't. And now there's,
Well, he's not screwed because he didn't
put 100% in. But we've known people with 100% in.
Yeah, they're just done and out. But what I like about him is that he's a scientist. He's very science-oriented.
Isn't he a doctor or something?
He and his wife are both PhD doctors.
Yeah.
And they're not unfamiliar with the process of being stigmatized for what they say, because their entire fame, in a sense, came from being accused of being racist at a college that was extremely wokey. Okay. And they're completely opposite of racist, naturally. Right. And he said the experience, of being accused of something that clearly was false, and then watching how the herd mentality, in a sense, the people that they had lunch and dinner with, and they were their peers, and they were their friends, and their closest allies and everything, turned on them like so fast, their head spin.
Yeah.
Because they were basically spineless.
Yep.
They didn't have a spine. They weren't able to have their own thought or opinion. Yeah. And they weren't able to even see it.
They were too afraid.
And they were too afraid. They're ruled.
Oh, I don't want to be I
don't want to be outcast like you. I don't want to be thought of as a racist
with you, because I will destroy my career. So bye.
Bye. Right.
Yeah, that's not the type of people you
want
to
So he's going through that similar experience with cootie cures.
The cootie cures, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting. But
watching
Cliff High.
Cliff High, yeah.
Yeah, we love Cliff High. And again, it's not like Cliff High is a really interesting character for me. He used to release the Cliff Notes years ago, and I would get those and I would read them, and it's like most of it I couldn't understand the word he was saying.
No, I know.
But I always found them interesting. And then he has, he does release some podcasts or videos every now and then. And even though I might not agree with a lot of what he says, I just find him fascinating. I just love the way he speaks. I love the way he puts his ideas together and explorations and his analysis. And it's just one of those connections, Yeah. It's like, it feels very connected. And I remember when this whole Cootie thing came out, he had a video on YouTube wearing a mask on by himself, and goggles and gloves. And all he said was, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. That's all he said for 5 minutes. And he was totally out of his mind, right?
Yeah, he was.
He had lost it. And it's like, oh my God, you poor thing. And then he came back and was like, sorry about that, guys,
I thought it was something. And they failed at their design. Their design is miserable, so it's okay. I'm not worried no more.
And it was like, he was back, Yeah. But yeah, it was really interesting. And I just like him. I just like the way he speaks and everything. I don't know if I would like him as a person. Probably not. But it's like what he does. And sometimes I will put on his video and I was watching him talk and, do his drawings and do his things and drink his coffee or whatever he's drinking. And he does his chugga tea, and he has his sleep thing, and he has a lot of good info, a lot of good info. He's one of these individuals that he may not be an official scientist, but he's definitely a human collective scientist. And I like that kind of core essential understanding of the universe that used to be the scientific mind. And he does have that. So he explores in that way. And I love the way his mind works, and he goes places, and he's just like, I love to watch his stuff. Most of the time I finish watching it, I don't remember or understand what he talked about, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then I listen to it again, and then, he stretches your mind, And then sometimes he gets it spot on, and it's like, oh my God, that's so great. And then sometimes it's like, what is he talking about? I need to look at this further. But he doesn't put it out there in a way that you're wrong, because there's other people who do that. But it's like, yeah, you bunch of idiots, you're all wrong, and this is actually the truth and the only truth and nothing but the truth. And the rest that you think and believe, and I know that I'm the only person who understands it on the planet right now. Like, nah, he doesn't have that. I think he doesn't have that. So when he explores new ideas for the human collective, he's full of enthusiasm. Right? And he's like so infused with enthusiasm. Oh my God. And he might say, yeah, not many people get this, but here it is. Isn't that fascinating? And I love that energy. So cliff high. Recently he hasn't been doing much because he's busy in the physical world, creating his homestead and sorting out his house, right?
And he's working on magnetisms and devices, and he's busy on physical projects, I think.
Yeah.
And he's changed from, I guess his shop is so full of stuff, he doesn't do his videos in there, he has to do them in his front yard, looking over the ocean now, because it's too full of stuff now. Yeah, he's busy. I like Wise Traditions, which is,
I don't remember that one.
That's the food. What's the name?
Almost anybody can put a tomato plant in.
Oh, the Price Foundation?
Weston Price, Weston A. Price. And that's part of what Dr. Cowan is about.
Yes.
And incidentally, Dr. Cowan, he's got a subscribe star that I subscribe to.
Oh, Dr. Cowan, of course. Yeah, I love his podcasts. It's another person that I just love to watch everything he creates and talks about. And I find I identify with him a lot because he does question and answers a lot.
Yeah.
And people ask him the same question
over and over.
He's like, he's got so much more patience than I do. He just nods a little bit and gives the same answer, and nods a little bit, and sometimes he just smiles and goes, okay, yeah, all right. And then he just gives the answer again. It's like, he has such patience, and you can tell his energy, his heart is like huge heart, He's such a nice person. He's just
conversations with Dr. and he's authentic for crying out loud. He was a practicing doctor with an MD license in California.
Yes.
And he was practicing medicine in the way that he felt medicine should be practiced.
Right.
Not outside the rules, but not following the structure.
The cha-ching.
Right, the cha-ching structure.
Yeah.
So he wasn't so much about treating symptom, because symptom he found was actually the cure.
Yeah.
Your symptom is the flushing.
Yeah.
The flushing is the part that makes your body healthy.
Yeah.
So, he was cognizant of it. And at some point he realized this license that I'm having limits me from what I can say and do.
Yeah.
And I no longer accept that limit.
Right.
So
he released
the license.
Yeah.
And he moved to
States.
a place in the country, I think New Hampshire or something, where he had roots and history and family and garden, and that started growing, I don't know, chickens and cats and food.
And he likes to
having
explore.
His exploration conversations.
He does. And when he doesn't know something, he'll say, yeah, I don't know that. I'll explore it, you know?
We suggested the Brown's gas machine to him.
We did, yeah.
Through the subscribe star, one of the things, and he explored it. He got one, and he did an interesting interview with him. I thought the interview wasn't the greatest. They didn't have
a
connection time-wise, right? I think, because
they have different styles.
One fellow wants to tell his story, his whole story, because it has emotional impact to him.
Right.
And Dr. Cohen wanted to hear about the effect.
Yes.
Or the
As a doctor, right?
What is the science of it or
Yeah.
something. And so the stories weren't matching. And so
Mhm.
it felt a little awkward, that interview.
Yeah.
But needless to say, I love listening to what he says.
Me too. Yeah.
And that's Conversations with Dr. Cohen. And I do subscribe to his Subscribe Star.
Yep, we do.
Because I also find it extremely important to support the things that I like.
Yes.
When I go to Walmart and I find organic hot dogs, I will buy them.
Yeah.
For example.
Right.
I support the things that I want to see more of.
Yes.
That's how I think of it. And so I'm not only supporting it, I'm obligated in my mind. When I see the things that I want presented, I'm obligated to support them.
Yes.
Because that's what I want to support in this planet.
Mm-hmm.
More of this, more of that.
Yep.
All right.
So Dr. Cohen, yes,
Dr.
definitely
Cohen,
in our list.
Conversations with Dr. Cohen and his Subscribe Star. I like the Ripple Effect podcast too. He's from Portugal.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes, I like him too.
He's he's like, not to be overly critical of anybody, he's exploring these things, and as he explores these things, he relates it back to his upbringing, Portugal, farm, like off the grid to before there was a grid is where his family grew up, and then he moved to the U.S. and he went through the whole process of being a teenager.
I think that expanded his awareness, right?
Yes.
He had to expand his awareness, having those very, very different experiences.
Right. The title's interesting, and it's his experience. These little ripples go out and they make big, huge changes. So he has interesting conversations with pretty interesting people that I wouldn't expect him to have access to even, But he ain't afraid of call him up, say, hey, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
So, I'm very, very like that. I like that. There's a few more. Lighting the Void we haven't listened to for a while.
We haven't, no. Something
seemed like since he moved, something happened.
Yeah.
And frequency changed a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
I might check in with him again.
Yeah, we can check back and see what's going on there.
It's been a while. I think Freakonomics Radio we haven't listened to for a while either, because it kind of got a little bit too cootie cured.
Yeah.
A little cootie cured there.
Power Over Others.
Power Over Others, yeah.
Yeah.
The topics were interesting. And the exploration of them were interesting, but the energy shifted in that too. The agenda came a little bit too hard.
Yeah, they've always had the agendas of the Chiching and Power Over Others, but it got really intense. So it was like, I can't listen to you anymore. I mean, before I could put up with it a little bit because the topics were interesting, the people were interesting, but now it's way too much.
It's just exhaustive.
It's exhaustive. Yeah.
And one of my other favorites, How I Built This.
Yeah.
That one
also went a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
Power Over Others.
The old the stories are good though.
Yeah.
Because it's basically he interviews.
Oops.
It's time.
It's time. Hold on. I'll go and switch that off.
All right. I'll hold your mic, honey.
Okay. You hold my mic, honey.
How did you know it was time? I think we actually have gone to our hour.
Where is it? Oh, it's right next to me.
It's an hour and 18, honey. You're over time.
Where is it?
It's upstairs, I think.
Is it? Okay.
I don't even know whose alarm it is.
1 o'clock on the... Oh! You know what we missed?
What did we miss?
The Pure Heart. We were doing Pure Heart throughout our...
We were Pure Hearting our podcast.
Yes.
I guess you did say you can sit in pure heart and do anything.
Yes.
And so we did that.
We did the Pure Heart recording now.
So what I was talking about was How I Built This with Guy Raz. And that show was very interesting because interested in businesses. How do they build these giant businesses? How do they start? And what do they do? And what experiences they have while they were doing it? And what worked, what didn't work? And, through listening to, 50 of them or something, you kind of have an idea of all of the ways.
But how the human collective functions even.
Right.
Yeah.
All the ways the giant thing starts.
Yeah.
And what they did to start it. And what their why was.
Yeah.
And what brought them through, what carried them through no matter what kind of thing. So it's a good show. I enjoy that. Probably there's one or two other shows that we listen to on occasion, but that pretty much covers it.
I think the main ones, yes, for sure.
Yeah. And of course, our show.
Driving to the res.
Driving to the res, which also has a second hour, by the way.
Yes.
When you find things in this world that you, what is the word? Inspire you, or what you want to see more of in this world.
Support it.
Support it, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You're obligated to.
Yeah.
That's how you make more of the world that you want.
Exactly.
Support the things that you want in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love you, honey.
Love you, darling.